I used to be a substitute teacher. English literature, mostly. I'd jump between schools in the district, one day covering a poetry lesson, the next dissecting Shakespeare with a room full of half-asleep teenagers. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave me time to work on a novel I never finished. This is why I stopped teaching, why I stopped writing altogether. It started last November. It was cold enough that my breath fogged up the inside of my car windows on the drive-in. I remember because I kept having to wipe the windshield with my sleeve while squinting through the frost. The call came in just after 7 o'clock a.m. Year 11 teacher's off sick. Can you cover 2 periods of English Lit? The woman on the phone sounded flustered. I agreed, half awake, and arrived about 40 minutes later at a school I hadn't been to before. The building was a hulking red-bricked structure from the 1930s. Tall windows, arched doorways, corridors that looked like they hadn't been repainted since Thatcher. A biting wind whistled through the cracked panes in the stairwell as I climbed to the 3rd floor of Block C. The classroom door groaned when I pushed it open. 28 students sat in near-perfect silence. No phones out, no whispering, no chairs squeaking. That alone should have been my first clue something was off. Then I noticed him. A boy, maybe 15 or 16, standing in the back corner, facing the wall. Not just standing. Still, unmoving, pale. His skin had a strange washed-out tone, almost gray, like someone who hadn't seen sunlight in years. His uniform didn't quite match the others either. Slightly older style. Blazer too long in the sleeves. Tie off center. I did a quick head count. 29 students. The register the office had emailed only had 28 names. I frowned, scanning the classroom. "Phones away," I said, trying to shake the chill in my chest. "We're doing Macbeth today." Some of the students groaned softly. Others just stared. Their eyes were dull, almost hollow, like they were watching a film play in front of them, not a real person talking. I cleared my throat and opened the attendance list. "I'm missing a name," I said aloud. "Who's the student in the back corner?" No one turned. No one glanced at him. In fact, it was like they didn't even hear me. I repeated louder. "You in the back, what's your name?" The boy didn't move, didn't flinch, just kept facing the wall. A girl in the front row said flatly, without even raising her eyes from the desk, "There's no one there, sir." The temperature in the room dropped. I looked again. He was still there, still facing the wall. Same blazer, same lifeless posture. I walked slowly toward him. Each step echoed. The floor seemed to creak slightly off beat, like I wasn't the only one walking. When I reached within arm's length, I spoke again, quieter. "Are you all right?" No response. His breathing wasn't visible. His shoulders didn't rise or fall. I blinked, and he was gone. Not walked away. Not slipped past me. Gone. As if he'd never existed. I taught the rest of the lesson as if nothing had happened. The kids were eerily well-behaved. Too still. Too silent. When the bell rang, they filed out without a word. That night I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying it. The way his blazer hung off his shoulders. The girl's voice saying, "There's no one there." The static buzz I'd started hearing in my ears as I got closer to him. I called the school the next day. "Just a quick follow-up," I said. "Did the student list change for that Year 11 class?" "No," the receptionist replied. "Same as always." I hesitated. "Was there ever a boy who stood at the back of that room?" She paused, then said coldly, "We don't discuss students with substitutes, especially not ones who aren't on the list." Click. I started digging. Late into the night, scrolling forums, local news articles, anything tied to that school. Nothing unusual. No deaths. No accidents. No urban legends. Until I stumbled across a Facebook group, Old Students of Red Hill Secondary. It was full of alumni sharing memories, posting class photos, tagging old friends. And then I found it. A class photo from 2015. Bottom row. Far left. Him. Same face. Same blank stare. Same ill-fitting uniform. I zoomed in. The area around him seemed slightly blurred, as if the camera hadn't focused properly on just him. I read the comments. Dozens of people reminiscing. Laughing emojis. Inside jokes. No one mentioned him. I messaged the poster. "Who's the boy on the far left?" They replied an hour later. "There's no boy on the far left. That spot's empty in the original." I sent them a screenshot. They didn't respond. When I refreshed the page, the photo was gone. I returned to the school. I told myself it was curiosity. Closure. But part of me needed to know. The front office had changed. New receptionist. I told her I used to work there. "We have no record of you," she said. "No one by that name has signed in this year." I asked for the head of English. He passed away last October. Sudden heart attack. Staff still shaken. I turned to leave. As I stepped into the corridor, a group of Year 11s walked past, chatting quietly. And at the very end of the line, there he was. Same boy, same uniform, same expression. But this time he turned his head and smiled, not joyfully, not kindly, knowingly. I quit teaching the next day. I don't know what I saw, but I believe some people don't leave, not if they're forgotten, not if they've been erased. He's still there, waiting for the next substitute.